Have you ever noticed something strange about your mind? You can handle a bad answer much more easily than a missing answer. Someone tells you, no, and eventually you know where you stand. But when someone says nothing, your mind can keep working for hours. You replay conversations, inspect tiny details, check your phone, imagine different explanations, and somehow a situation that lasted 30 seconds can occupy your attention for the entire day. What makes this fascinating is that the problem isn't always what happened. Sometimes the problem is what your brain cannot finish deciding. Imagine a simple stick figure standing in front of a whiteboard. On the board is one sentence. Something is going to happen. That's all. No explanation. No date. No outcome. The figure looks at it, waits for a few seconds, and then starts drawing possibilities. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe something else. Soon the entire board is covered with arrows, circles, question marks, and imagined outcomes. Nothing new has entered the room. The only thing that changed is the amount of thinking. This reveals something important about the human mind. When information is incomplete, the brain doesn't simply leave the empty space empty. It tries to work around it. Your mind is constantly building an internal model of what is happening around you. It uses memories, patterns, expectations, and current information to estimate what might happen next. Most of the time, this happens so quickly that you never notice it. You walk toward your front door expecting it to be there. You open an app expecting it to work. You enter a familiar room expecting certain things to remain in certain places. Life becomes easier because you don't have to consciously calculate every possibility. But introduce something unpredictable, and the system becomes more active. Suddenly, your attention starts searching. This is why uncertainty can make a tiny event feel disproportionately important. Imagine you send a message to a friend. 10 minutes pass. Nothing unusual. 20 minutes pass. Still nothing. At this point, there is very little information. But your brain has a problem. It wants to understand the situation, and the available evidence is incomplete. So it starts generating explanations. They might be completely harmless. Maybe the person is driving. Maybe their phone is charging. Maybe they're working. But your mind can also generate less comfortable possibilities. Maybe they're angry. Maybe you said something wrong. Maybe something changed. The interesting part is that your brain doesn't necessarily generate these possibilities because they are likely. It generates them because they are possible. And possibility is not probability. That distinction is easy to forget when you are emotionally involved. A possibility simply means something could happen. Probability asks how likely it actually is. Your mind can produce 100 possibilities without giving you 100 pieces of evidence. This is where overthinking can become convincing. The more often you mentally examine an uncertain situation, the more familiar your thoughts about it become. And familiar thoughts can start to feel important, even when they are still only thoughts. Picture the stick figure sitting at a desk. Above its head is a thought bubble containing a question. The figure looks at the question, then creates another question about the first question, then another. Soon, the original situation is buried underneath layers of interpretation. This is one reason thinking more does not always mean understanding more. Sometimes you are not discovering new information. You are simply rearranging the same information in different ways. There is another fascinating part of this process. When your brain doesn't know what to expect, it may start looking for signals everywhere. A delayed response becomes a signal. A change in someone's tone becomes a signal. A short message becomes a signal. Even silence becomes a signal. But silence can mean many things. A short message can mean many things. A different facial expression can mean many things. The mind wants one explanation, while reality may contain several. This is why uncertainty becomes especially powerful when we are emotionally invested. If you don't care about the outcome, waiting is easy. If the outcome matters deeply to you, every minute can feel meaningful. Think about waiting for the result of something important. During the first few minutes, you may continue your normal routine. But as the deadline gets closer, your attention begins returning to the unanswered question. You check the time. You wonder whether there is an update. You imagine the moment you finally receive the answer. The body may be doing nothing unusual, yet mentally, you are constantly preparing for a future moment that hasn't arrived. This doesn't mean your brain is malfunctioning. Prediction is one of its basic jobs. The problem begins when prediction becomes a substitute for information. Imagine the stick figure standing outside a room with a closed door. Instead of waiting, It starts drawing what might be inside the room. A chair, a person, a problem, a surprise, a disaster, a celebration. The drawings become more detailed and emotional, but the door is still closed. The figure hasn't learned anything new. This is a powerful metaphor for mental uncertainty. You can spend enormous amounts of energy creating explanations without actually reducing the unknown. And sometimes the most productive response to uncertainty is surprisingly simple. Identify what is knowable, identify what is actionable, and leave the rest alone for now. Suppose you are waiting for an important decision. You cannot control the decision itself, but perhaps you can control what you do during the waiting period. You can continue working. You can exercise. You can talk to someone. You can eat. You can sleep. You can focus on another task. You are not ignoring reality. You are simply refusing to make an unanswered question the center of your entire day. This is an important difference. Avoiding uncertainty means running away from the unknown. Tolerating uncertainty means allowing the unknown to exist without constantly trying to mentally solve it. And that ability can change how you experience ordinary life. Because uncertainty is everywhere. You don't know exactly how tomorrow will go. You don't know what another person is thinking. You don't know which opportunities will appear 6 months from now. You don't know exactly how a decision will turn out. If your mind requires complete certainty before it allows you to relax, you will spend a huge part of your life waiting for information that may never arrive. But if you learn to say, "I have enough information for today," something changes. The unanswered questions are still there, but they become quieter. Imagine the stick figure erasing most of the drawings from the whiteboard. Only one sentence remains. "I'll know when I know." The figure puts down the marker and walks away. Nothing has been solved. Yet something important has changed. The mind is no longer demanding an answer before allowing life to continue. And perhaps that is the deeper lesson about uncertainty. Peace does not always come from discovering what happens next. Sometimes it comes from realizing that your future does not need to be completely explained before you can enjoy your present. Your brain will keep predicting. It will keep searching for patterns. It will keep asking questions whenever information is missing. That part of you is not the enemy. It is simply a system trying to make sense of an incomplete world. But you get to decide how much attention each unanswered question deserves. So the next time your mind starts building an entire story around something you don't know, stop for a moment. Ask yourself, what do I actually know? Then ask, is there anything useful I can do right now? If the answer is yes, act. If the answer is no, let the unanswered question remain unanswered for a while. Because sometimes maturity is not having better answers. Sometimes it is becoming comfortable enough to say, I don't know what happens next, and I can still move forward.